We are here at the National Arts Centre with Andrea Chabot, who is running for the future Canada Party, and we have Bruce, a photographer behind us, who just happened to be noticing us, and he said, are you famous? I think he was asking her, and she's like, no, Josh is famous.
Yeah.
And I sort of am, but I was saying, no, she's the famous one. I'm here to interview her. She's a politician, and Bruce is just making sure we're in frame here. And so what happened was, how I met you was, I was at the debate for Ottawa Centre a couple of days ago, and I walked into the church, and you were like, oh, it's Josh, you're a local celebrity. And I was like, what? So obviously I liked her immediately. And I messaged her, I'm like, how do I know you? And we figured out maybe just from my Facebook neighborhoods videos where I show myself walking around the town. And so that's exciting, and I thought it gave me an idea, because normally I'm running the elections. I'm not running this time, but I still want to participate to show people that they should get involved. And I thought, why don't I interview politicians, and I could start with you, kind of thing. And I will only interview politicians that think I'm a local celebrity. So this might be my first and last interview. But welcome to the show. I call myself Spark the Genius, and I brought this paper so I can draw a little picture of you. Sometimes I draw celebrities on red carpets and stuff, and then I will autograph this for you, and it'll be worth a lot of money.
That's phenomenal.
So let's see.
A man of many talents.
Yes. Well, yeah.
I just have to say that I cringed when you called me a politician a little bit, because I don't really see myself that way.
Are you the anti-politician politician?
Well, I like to consider myself to be a regular person who just cares a lot.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, that's why I wonder too. Like, when I say I'm a politician, I'm like, am I a politician just because I'm running, or do you have to actually get elected before you're a politician?
Right.
I don't know. I don't think there's a legal definition.
Or does it mean you're just really good at politicking,
Yeah, just
rhetoric and grandiose plans. I don't know.
Ranting on Facebook and such.
Yeah.
Well, what got you into? See, I was telling you yesterday on the phone. It's like, for the interview, I just want to, learn about you as a person, have a sort of an informal thing. Like, people can read your platform on your flyer and your website, so we don't need to waste time. But I guess, so you can tell me what you want to talk about or not, because it's different interviewing a politician as well. Like, so you got to be careful. You're not just like a regular person. Anything you say can be used against you in the court of the public.
Yeah, that's true.
Space.
That's true. Yeah. So I guess in that word there's sort of this insinuation that you have to be polished, right? And I think I don't know. I think I'd rather my politicians, if you want to call it that, be genuine. So that's what I'm bringing. The reason I'm running is a kind of a couple of particular unique things. So I was in politics. I was involved in politics prior to my public service career, and I left politics at that time because I saw some kind of distasteful things happening within the party. In particular, the nomination process. I thought wasn't sort of ran in the most open and transparent way.
For the leader, or just for the candidate?
Yeah, just to be on the ballot, right? So it's a part that most Canadians don't really get to see, is what happens before you get on the ballot, and the politicking, if you will.
And often that's the most important spot, right? Because especially if it's a riding that's safe for a particular party, it's like if you can just get nominated for the party, you're pretty much a shoo-in, even if you don't do anything or whatever. That's right. And sometimes I don't even know the process. I know they're supposed to vote for people, and I've been part of that for a party as well, but then sometimes it seems the backroom people just come in and say, no, you're the person.
Yeah, and it sort of goes with the winds of change, right? Or like the pendulum sort of swings, right? If the momentum is shifting towards the Liberals, well, you're going to see some more competitive sort of nomination processes in the Liberal side of things. And then conversely, if the Conservatives are gaining momentum, or the NDP, then we'll see some hotly contested nomination.
Right. Yeah, people want to get on board. Like, if they think a party's going to win, they're like, I want to be the candidate. Like, they're more willing to sort of put themselves out there.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So yeah, it kind of circumvents, I guess, most people's sort of choice, I guess, for the person who ends up representing the party on the ballot. And so, and often the processes are very tightly controlled by a select few, and so, if you're in the know, you can sort of plan or let who like your friends or whatever that you think, would make great candidates, but at the exclusion of maybe other people who could also be great candidates on the ballot. So.
Sorry, what are you saying?
Yeah, basically what I'm
zoned
saying.
out.
Yeah, sorry. What I'm saying is that I really I don't like the part of our democratic process right now where you don't really get to decide about the person who's running, the person who's representing the particular party.
Right. You think that's sort of done behind the scenes, kind of the way that
Yeah.
Kamala Harris was just made the replacement for Joe Biden without a vote, that kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, and it's often well, I don't know about. I'd love to see some numbers on it, but
Yeah.
if there's going to be any sort of shady business, is going to be in the nomination process.
Right. Not as many people are, and I don't think even, I guess legally they don't even have to do a vote, right? Somehow the party just decides you're the person, right? And I don't know what the process.
Yeah, well, Election Canada sets certain rules, but it's essentially mostly up to the party to decide what those rules are, and including if they aren't followed, it's up to them to follow up with that. And
Right. So it's kind of an internal thing.
Yeah.
So you were sick of the nonsense, and you said you were running for a party or something, but do you want to mention
so that
what party
was part
that
of
was?
it.
Or?
Sure, that was sure.
I don't know.
wasn't running.
Could
I
be a
wasn't
secret.
running.
You were just involved in
but
it.
I was on boards.
Right.
Yeah, it was the Provincial Conservative Party. So this was out in Alberta.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's where I was born, and then also the federal. It was Canadian Alliance at the time. So it was right around the time when it was Reform and then Canadian Alliance. So this was almost 20 years ago now.
Right, because then didn't. I don't know, somehow they didn't Reform merge with Conservatives, or the Progressive Conservatives, they became the Conservatives?
Yeah, so that's the other thing that made me kind of want to leave the whole party area, was I felt like there wasn't room for proper discourse. And I'll give you just a little story.
Ooh,
so
stories.
yeah, so this was on the convention floor in, I want to say 2001, 2002, I don't know the exact date, but there was a resolution put to the floor. So this is what happens inside the party. People put forward resolutions from every board. It was a very grassroots sort of party, so anyone could put forward resolutions, and then they would sort of go through them, and the most sort of common ones, or the ones that people put forward, they would debate. And so one was put forward at the time, and that was to legalize or decriminalize marijuana at the time. And I was young. I was probably 20 years old. So I wasn't a great experienced debater, but I had friends that had partaken, and so the against microphone. So there's one yay, one nay, and the against microphone was like lined up like almost to the back of the room, but nobody was on the floor. And I thought to myself, this is such a travesty. Somebody had the guts to put this forward in a conservative, election, and it just doesn't seem fair. It wouldn't do it justice to just let that microphone sit empty. And so I said, I kind of picked up my, my ego or whatever.
Yeah.
I went to the microphone to debate for it, for legalization of marijuana at the time. And I had several points, that I made at the time, but I raised a ruckus in the room. Let me tell you that. Some people, they weren't even debating me from the other microphone anymore. They were debating me from the seats. I had Art Hanger, a sitting MP at the time, coming up behind me and shaking his finger at me. And then when I continued debating, I got booed. And so, to me, I don't know. I just didn't feel like that was like a place where we could actually debate ideas, or you know what I mean, and really with rigor a little bit. So to me, that's important. I think it's an important part of democracy, is to have that place where you can debate and bring forth evidence and experience into as opposed to just strict ideological, like drugs are bad.
Right. And were you actually for the proposal, or were you just doing it almost like a devil's advocate? Well, what are the arguments, so that we could...
I was on the fence at the time, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was 20 years old. Had I done it? Yeah, absolutely.
You were doing it at that moment.
Sure.
You're like, I got some ideas. I'll tell you.
Yeah. But the reality is that it was an idea that was being floated.
It's weird that the person floating it wasn't even there to get on the mic.
Well, I wonder. Yeah. It was what might have been. Anyways, it's part of politics as well as you get a delegate. Each sort of electoral district association gets to send X amount of delegates, and so so it might not have even been the person, but
Right.
I wanted to rep whoever had the guts to put that on the floor.
Yeah, I love it. You probably did well in debating class in high school. Or
No, I didn't know. There was no debate
didn't
class.
Exist.
No,
I
didn't
don't think
exist.
that existed.
No.
For me either. Maybe there's no class, but there's the debate club, but I never joined that either.
Yeah. So anyways, I ended up exiting politics around the time, right after I saw, like I said, it was a shady nomination process, and it was provincial politics, but it was basically they were controlling the timing, and I was on the board, and I thought this wasn't right. And around the same time, I kind of got tapped on the shoulder to be a returning officer for an upcoming provincial election that was coming up. And so I took the opportunity to, I was like, I have to be nonpartisan. Okay. So it was my first stint in like the public service, if you will.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So did that, and then also.
And how did you get that opportunity?
Sort of making babies. Okay, that's where it gets complicated.
Oh wait!
Right?
We just got to making babies, but for those who want to become a returning officer, like how?
Yeah,
I guess
it's different. It's different, and it's actually evolved over time. So it used to be kind of controlled within the party that was in power, right? So they would sort of they were supposed to find people. At the time, they were sort of in transition, and the chief electoral officer had decided that he wasn't going to let the party tell him who could or couldn't do this job. And so he interviewed me, and he wanted to make sure that I was not going to be partisan in my election administration, which would be the
even though he
case.
knew you from being involved in the party.
Even though it was the
Yeah.
party that gave him my name, yeah.
Right.
That's right.
We got a person.
Yeah.
She's impartial.
Wait, right.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Whatever.
hardly seems fair, but
Yeah.
and so at the time, I mean, it's partly a character thing, right? So you
knew
take
you
an
were the
oath,
person.
absolutely, and
I remember
so I
she
had
argued for pot very well. We
cut
got
out my
irons,
ties. Yeah, she's definitely not a conservative.
Where's the druggy girl? Yeah, she's impartial. Yeah.
And anyway, so we're the
I was just asking
electoral-
how you became the
electoral,
person,
Yeah,
but that's fine. Okay,
Yeah. So and so it was a rigorous interview. At the time, I had ran a couple of my dad's municipal campaigns, and so I knew about short-term project work and knew how to get things done. So he agreed, and then I just kept doing it.
Great.
Yeah, it was like a short period of time, and then there's some other things that happen in between. Map reviews and enumerations,
Cool.
which was also fun stuff.
All right, so that's a whole career that you
Yeah.
could do, because people don't even know that necessarily. I didn't even know. Oh, you can just apply for jobs on election day and stuff. You can get paid to work all day
Yeah.
counting ballots or doing whatever. So even if you're not running, there's a way to get involved and actually make money and whatever. So
Yeah, so my understanding is that today there is an application process. It's ran, at least in Alberta, I think that's been modified, where it's ran by the chief electoral office. And same thing with Elections Canada, I believe. So the appointment here or at the federal level is for like 10 years. You're assigned that role. So yeah, to get it, you have to watch for the openings at the federal level to see when, and then you apply, just like every other job.
Okay.
So there you go. That might be your next gig job.
maybe, but when I did apply for, or when I was running in the provincial election last month, I asked the guy, I'm like, can I work on election day even if I'm running? He's like, he hadn't really thought of it before. Yeah, I guess you can. You just have to promise not to, tell people vote for me, like if you're working
Sure.
at the election booth or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I did apply, but he said they had like 3,000 applications for like 1,200 jobs already. So I didn't get in that time. But yeah, if you do it early enough, you can just apply, and it'd be a fun way to get involved on election day, see what's happening. And then yeah, so then you said you started making babies.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, I got married. I don't know. It's
Okay.
just,
Yeah.
you know how that happens.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, I know the biology. I think so. Yeah.
we had a real lucky honeymoon. Let's put it that way.
3 in a row.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah, bing bang boom, 19 months apart. So yeah, I focused on that for a bit, and it took me a bit, but actually right before I started taking the election job, I figured out that I wanted to be involved in taxes for the rest of my life. I had
Some sentences that have never been said in the
I
history
know.
of time.
I love taxes.
Wow.
Well, here's what I love about taxes. I
Yeah.
love that the rules are very complex. So I still remember my first trainer. So it was a private sector job, and to do farm taxes, actually, specifically.
Ooh, doubly sexy.
Yeah. And my trainer said, some people spend their whole lives learning the Bible. He says, you know how big the Income Tax Act? He says it's bigger than the Bible. And so I said, wow, I could be studying taxes for the rest of my life and still not know.
Right, so-
Anyways,
yeah,
it was the
no, that's-
comparison he drew. It fascinated me, and
Yeah.
so there was a lot to know, and
Yeah.
and it's constantly changing, as you know. with,
Yeah. That's why you got to get the new TurboTax every year or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
up to your accountant has to be on top of it.
That's right.
And that's why, you want somebody who knows what they're doing and is keeping track. It's like,
Yeah.
we can get next deduction for that now or something. Wow. So then you've worked in the tax field?
So yeah, I did private sector tax, but I'll tell you what I found. So I was driving to farmers all over Alberta. So I was putting on like
You were driving farmers around?
driving to farm tables,
right.
to do their tax returns.
Oh, like you'd go to the kitchen table at a barn or whatever, and
Well, it wasn't a barn. They had houses.
wow,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I got to see the
I'm
barns.
a big city boy.
There's some cool
The
barns.
barns are out the window.
Yeah, there you go. But
sitting there, like-
but yeah, I'd sit down. I'd kind of break it down for them. I got really good at kind of explaining these crazy tax concepts in a simple way, so they'd and find the money, right? So they often didn't know certain things that they could benefit from.
Yeah.
Like at the time, there was just a small example, but there's the Alberta Healthcare used to charge whatever $400 for the year, but if you made under a certain amount, you could request it back, like a reimbursement. And
Yeah,
so I'd often, remind them. But unless you knew and you actively applied for it, you wouldn't get it. It would just, they would keep your money, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I said I'd find the money, to help, because they were very poor, actually. They were struggling at the
they're
time.
farmers.
For sure, they were struggling. I also felt, because I was on the other side of the CRA, and I had some interactions with CRA and the auditors, and I could see their forms, and I thought, these poor farmers are spending thousands of dollars, for this package that we used to, give them through this company. And so it was a membership fee, but it offered them audit protection, so they could sleep at night. And I thought, man, these poor people who, are struggling already, they have to shell out thousands of dollars to not live in fear about, the tax man coming after them. And in my interactions, I had seen enough to know that, I thought CRA could do a better job. These people should be able to understand their tax obligations and do it themselves. So I said, I'm going to join the CRA.
Wow.
Fix it. Help people,
Can you do that? I didn't know you could go into the government and fix things. It seems like intractable.
I was sure going to try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your dream.
Yeah.
And then, did you apply for a specific job at CRA, or you just said, I'm coming to work for you?
Yeah, well, there's only, when you're in the region, so in Calgary, there's only a couple of real spots you can get in. One is the front line, what I call the front lines of service. So they have call centers, and that only requires a high school education. So I applied. I'd done some call center work before, and it's good. It's good on the phone. It's good with people.
Calling from Rogers, you can get a better deal.
That's how I got in, because I only got halfway through my degree before the babies started coming.
See the babies.
Yeah,
I knew
the
it.
babies.
I need to explain to you how babies are made. I could have finished my degree.
Dang it. But so I thought, you know what, I'll keep chipping away at my degree eventually, over time. So I spent 5 years on the phones to CRA, and then I could see that even the agents around me were struggling with giving information, finding answers, I guess, for people.
They didn't know all the stuff that you knew that you were.
Well, it wasn't just that, though. It wasn't just that, because a lot of it is just looking up information. There's no way you could possibly know the scope.
It's like when I call Apple support, they have to Google it too. They don't know, and so we're both Googling the answers.
And a lot of it is, our own internal systems and procedures. Like we're answering questions about every program that touches an individual with, CRA. There's lots of little programs. So I found, and at the time the OAG report had come out saying that, it was actually scathing, that something in our accuracy was, they had rated it 84%, or I think somewhere as low as 70% accuracy. Anyways, there was a couple of different lines of business they tested, but basically that we could do better. And so at the time, I had an opportunity to move to Ottawa,
Ooh.
Yeah,
What,
I
you
know.
must have been so excited. Ottawa.
Well, I was excited, yes, but it was the hardest time of my life because I had just.
I was being sarcastic. It's
Yeah.
Ottawa.
No, I know.
But I mean, if you're working in government and everything, this is the place to be. Like, you can't see it right now,
Yeah.
people, but Parliament Hill is like right in our view. This is actually a beautiful city.
I say this is where the.
No offense, Ottawa.
It's true.
Yeah.
This is where the legislative rubber hits the administrative road.
Oh, so exciting.
Yeah.
Love legislative rubber. Yeah, but no, I mean, it is, it's the halls of power here.
Yeah,
It's kind of,
that's right.
kind of cool. And you know, there's a girl that just started a blog called Ottawa's Not Boring. She's showing me lists of things to do. So we're fighting this stereotype and everything. And that's what I'm trying to do too, just walk around and
Sure.
show people what's going on. So you came to Ottawa from Alberta, and you're like, at this point, were you with your, like, you must have gotten divorced at some point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I got divorced, and that's a long, hard story. But I had just won shared custody, and that had been about a year. But I was still.
Was he fighting for full custody?
Well, I was in sort of what is typically the male's position when people get separated. So I don't.
Because you were the breadwinner,
I was
you were
working.
making the money.
Yeah.
And was he like daddy, mommy, like at home?
Well, we had just made the switch to try, like we were trying everything to make it work, you know, for the kids. You try everything, you know, therapy and try
Right.
to switch roles. And so I was the only one that was working. So yeah, I was trying to support a family, three kids
The 3 boys?
on a call center agent salary. No,
Yeah.
2 boys and a girl.
Oh, cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, and the baby was pretty young. He was only 2 years old when we were separated.
So he wasn't chipping in or anything.
No,
Yeah.
they're expensive, man.
You gotta
Kids
make
are
him a
expensive.
TikTok page or whatever. The dance baby.
Yeah.
Mama needs money.
That's right. So it was tough. I had to fight for shared custody because, anyways,
Yeah.
it's long and complicated.
It's not as easy as you always assume. Oh, the woman just gets full custody. or
Yeah,
like,
no,
whatever.
that's not the case anymore. Which is great, by the way. But
Yeah,
it should be
depends.
shared by default immediately.
You think that would be fair, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. But I can tell you, I can relate to why men struggle so much post divorce, like getting, essentially the person with the means, they call it, it's the means
Right.
test,
Yeah.
has to move out. Or, it's strongly suggested.
The person with the means has to move out.
Yeah,
Why would
of the
that
family
be?
home.
Wouldn't.
They call it the means test. I don't know.
But like you got more
I'm not
money,
a
you have to
family
leave
lawyer.
because you can afford to leave. I guess
Yeah.
is that the idea?
Yeah,
Ah, see, that's your mistake. You got a job.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Ugh.
Should have been a.
Just I don't know
Stay-at-home
what.
mom, yeah.
Exactly. You could have both been
Well,
staying
but I
home.
was. That's the crazy. I was
Yeah,
for
you've
a
been
long
just swapped.
time, and then
Yeah.
So, anyways, it is what it is.
I always say, just don't have kids with someone you don't want to divorce. But I guess you
That's
can't
true.
predict that.
You can't predict that.
Did you have a sense though when you're getting married? You're like, something. Your spidey sense is going. Well, it's not going to go well, but you did it anyways.
A little bit.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, you gotta follow your spidey senses,
Yeah.
guys. Yeah,
There's another lesson for you kids.
follow your spidey senses.
I love how Bruce is like, yeah, it's true. You said you're 80, Bruce? I love it.
He knows.
He's got wisdom he's going to
Yeah,
share with us.
yeah.
I'll bet at the end he can
I
come and
bet.
do a cameo.
For sure. Yeah, so hardest decision I ever had to make in my life.
The
was
divorce.
know whether to move or not.
To Ottawa.
Because I had just
Right, 'cause your
we
kids
had
are there.
shared
What are you going to
custody.
do?
Yeah.
Did you drag him here? Like, okay, what happened?
Yeah, well, we tried mediation, everything to try and make it happen. But I don't know, to launch a case, like a mobility case, to have the courts decide, 50 grand was what I was being
That's the
quoted.
thing. You don't want to get lawyers involved in anything.
Like that
If
was
you
my
can,
that was my year of salary as
the
a call
thing.
center agent. Yeah, I was like,
whenever I hear parents fighting over kids, I'm like, just use that money for the kids. Like, just figure it out.
I
Like,
know.
pay the lawyers hundreds of thousands to just.
well, even mediation was a few
Yeah,
thousand.
exactly. And then eventually the kids are grown up anyways, and it's all a moot point. So you're fighting over this little precious time.
That's right.
Anyways, what do I know?
There you go. So hardest decision ever.
Right.
I called his bluff. I didn't think he could handle it because I was doing everything. Anyways, I did. There's not too much I'll brag about, but
Yeah.
I'll brag about the fact that I was a great mom.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I sensed your energy when you said he's a local celebrity. I'm like, I feel like this woman is like just sunshine. I'm like, I gotta talk to
I
her.
try. I do too. Yeah, hardest
Adopt me,
decision.
please.
Hardest decision I ever made in my
Yeah.
life.
So you moved here, but
Yep.
then what did that mean? Did you have to come? What happens to the kids? They fly back and forth.
Well, they had a rough year too.
Yeah.
It was what I call the dark year. It was rough for everyone, and I brought the kid. The plan was to bring the kids during the summer and just have a phenomenal summer with them. And that was the year of our 150th anniversary in Ottawa. That was a phenomenal time. We did all the things.
Bruce gave the thumbs
you
up.
know,
You remember?
watching the dinosaurs. We went to all the festivals, the fireworks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were like a
We had
grandma, like I'm
adventures.
giving you the fun time, and then you
That's
got to
right.
go back
Yeah,
to
well,
cranky
yeah.
days.
If you can't have the full time, you
you
have
the
the
fun
quality time.
Yeah.
Quality,
Well, that's
yeah.
a summer to remember.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
love that.
So we had a blast, and then I don't know, circumstances changed sometime. He had another baby on the way, and we kind of were able to work it out. And he said, you can let the kids move here.
Oh, so now he's got his new wife or girlfriend with a new baby, and he's like, all right, do your thing.
Yeah.
I guess, well, that is the best that could have happened, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, they've got a little half-sibling, and mommy and daddy aren't fighting.
Yeah. Everybody's happy.
Yeah, and now mommy's off running for office.
Oh gosh.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. So I came to fight for the call center agents, though. That was the kicker. Like I needed.
That's why you came to Ottawa?
Yeah.
To
Was
fight for the costs, to
Yeah.
make things less complicated so the agents knew what to tell people on the phone?
Yeah. Like yeah,
Right.
call center agents just want to help people. Like they don't. It's not like they wake up going, I'm gonna make your life
Yeah.
difficult, you know, as a Canadian aspect. Like no, we hire them because they like to help people.
Right,
And so,
right.
but I just felt like we gave them crappy tools to be able to do that.
Ooh.
So I wanted to fix their tools, right?
All right.
So
And did you?
I tried. Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
It took me a while. It took me a lot longer than I hoped it would be, but
Yeah, I can't imagine fixing things at the Canadian Review Association is
Yeah.
going to be like, oh yeah, sure, do that.
yeah. But he did. Like,
Wow.
there's a lot of internal sort of apathy or like internal, what do you call it?
Like resistance? Or,
Yeah, that's a good word for it. To change.
Yeah, if I
Yeah.
maybe we call it resistance, like anything like that.
Yeah,
But,
but,
are you like a celebrity with call center people now? Like if they have a call center like convention, do you walk in like, oh my God, it's Andrea Chabot,
Kind of.
idol, and
A
they're all
little
like
bit.
minions, like
Well, only the ones that know, right? 'Cause
Right.
It's all like it's
so
all
it's kind of like
behind
Fight
the
Club. They
scenes.
go, you're not allowed to talk about it, but they know.
No. Yeah, like my team for
Yeah.
sure. I'm a celebrity with my team. They're like everybody thought it was impossible.
Yeah.
To sort of redesign and make this manual they use to find information better. And
You're like
and
the
we
Doge
did.
of the CRA.
No,
No,
don't
never
even.
mind.
But we're like no. We're what Doge should have been. Like
Ah.
Elon Musk is really showing us. Yes, he's right in that everything has a digital component, and we need that kind of expertise at the top now for
Mm-hmm.
sure. But the way he's doing it is not, and not what I would do. Let's say.
How's that? What?
So, as an example, my understanding is that he shut down the USDS, so it's the U.S. Digital Services, or incorporated them. But he doesn't seem to value user-centered design or research, right? He's the typical sort of tech, I know better. I know how to design these things. And really that's where there's a lot of value is in the research and the iteration. And so that's what we use for this particular project, but there's not really enough. And I think more public servants need to understand that like at least the concept, and then be working with experts in that field for program development.
And so do you still work for the CRA then?
I do.
Cool. And could you ever transfer this, can you be an expert for other companies, come in and say, hey, I'm going to, fix things like I did with the call center people here or whatever?
I feel like
or
I
maybe
could.
call centers around the world. I mean,
Yeah.
so many companies have call centers. You
Sure.
could be like, I'm going to...
Well, it's like
fly
web.
around.
It's kind of like web design or
Yeah.
content management. There's a little. It's like a project. Yeah, I think I could. I'd love to try my hand actually.
All right, I'm going to be your manager or agent or
My
carry
agent.
your bags when you travel around the world or whatever.
I love it.
Excellent.
Okay, so that really gets to the heart of why I'm running, though.
Right.
Yeah.
You're running for office. I forgot that part.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. That's
No.
why we're here
But
today.
that's why we're here.
This
Oh,
is why
cool.
she has a flyer and it's all
Sure.
yellow. So okay,
Yeah.
so you're here. You got your 3 kids. You're working the CRA, and then how did this happen or whatever?
Yeah. It started with a role I had to study why 80% of the government's IT projects fail. And I started doing a deep dive on the machinery of government processes, the financial frameworks. This is not sexy stuff to talk about, you guys.
No,
Like,
but I'm going to call you at night when I can't sleep and tell me about the digital. I'll be like,
I'll be like reading this section of the Income Tax Act.
Yeah. Oh, this could be your. Oh my God, you could have a YouTube channel where people do ASMR where you just read income tax. This would be huge.
I'm gonna
Oh
try
my God,
it.
it's not even funny. Okay, I'm gonna make the page, but I want half the money. This is it. This is our big idea. Oh my God, this is
I'll
so
give you a
good.
cut. I'll give you a
All
cut.
right, a cut.
the
Wow,
idea.
wow, hard negotiator. See, we're fighting for custody of our YouTube channel already.
Already.
Okay, so then, so you had this idea.
Well, I was
what-
studying, and so what I saw, and I'm like, I'm not an expert, but like I can see patterns, I can see trends, and I talked to a lot of people, and what I saw was, more sort of inertia, and I thought some brilliant ideas around sort of some applying sort of Lean or Six Sigma principles to some of these processes to lean them, or apply some of these other disciplines, like I said, like UX research. We had a great team, and all the ideas we pitched were sort of shot down in the name of I don't know. I'm going to be bold and fearless,
What do you
and I'm
think
going to say I was told it would be a career limiting move if we went ahead with some of these proposals, let's say, and that is not.
They met you in a dark alley. They're like, this could go very bad. Why don't you just keep quiet so we can all just keep not doing work here and get our pensions and don't rock the boat? I don't know.
Yeah. So, anyways, I kind of left between that role, but with my tail between my legs, thinking that
So you had a role. They said try to fix things. You said here's what I suggest.
Yeah.
And they're like, this will be bad for you if you
try
to push
something
this.
else. Yeah, something else.
And so they had the power to say we're not doing it, move on, or
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
and I'm not
but-
jaded.
but-
I'm
yeah.
not jaded.
No, you're
I
fine.
just-
I see the
Yeah.
positive. But when they say career limiting, do they mean you could have done it, but it wouldn't be good for you, or they're
Well,
just like you
here's
can't
what
do
I
it?
realized is actually most of the processes I was talking about, I didn't really learn it till after, and I wish they'd have just been explicit, but are directly in the Prime Minister's only purview, right? So a lot of these, the processes I'm talking about is primarily Prime Minister. And so I was like, okay, I can't really change that. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, well, the central agencies are not going to change it. They're not going to be like, hi, hello, we think we should review our processes.
Yeah, we
right?
think half of us should be fired.
Right? Yeah. We think we're doing a shitty job over here.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
Make us work harder.
And then why would the Prime Minister care? Right?
Yeah.
It's not going to get them elected. Like I said, nobody's talking about these.
Yeah, I wish the internal you're right. So he's not going to do anything that's going to get his internal people mad at him,
Yeah.
and then people are going to, what are you doing? And then the other
Right.
party's going to spin it like, oh look, you're screwing things
you're
up.
screwing things
It's one of
up.
those things that can never.
Yeah.
It needs to be fixed.
It needs to be fixed.
Like they keep saying in the U.S., like what is it? The pensions, or what's it called? Like whatever it's called. Like it's not sustainable. Like it's going to bankrupt the but no politician will touch it because everybody's like, I want my money. Like there's no way.
Right.
So it's just you're
Yeah.
driving off a cliff and nothing can stop.
That's right.
Yeah.
So then I thought, you know what? I'll bring it to my group, this team of like-minded peoples called Civic Tech. They use tech for good. Some people. It's just kind of some.
Is it like a charity or like some tech people that
No,
volunteer,
it's like,
or it's a company?
It's tech
like
people.
Consultants.
It's mostly it's volunteers. Tech
Yeah.
people, public sector, private sector. They all get together to do good things.
Good.
Like using technology
Yeah.
to do good things.
Yeah.
And so I pitched this to them. I said, listen, guys, there's some problems with the machinery of government. And so I try to break it down into ways that they're explainable. And they're like, we believe you, Andrea, but like, how are we? And so I was trying to get the techies to work on some infographics, or how could we animate this or something.
And then go to the Prime Minister
I
and be
thought
like,
we
here's
had
our
a year.
PowerPoint.
I was like, we have a year lead time. I was thinking this was last fall. I thought, okay, election next October.
Right.
Before the world flipped.
Yeah.
And we ended up in an election. And anyway, so we were.
What was the plan? You were going to go to the government and say this is.
No, we were going to make it an election issue. So we were going to kind of use the whatever
You're going
TikTok,
to say, hey,
social media,
right. Look, this needs to be
explain
done.
it
How does your
first.
politician stand on this kind of thing?
Yeah, to explain it first and make it an election issue, right? So kind of like Fair Vote does.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, Fair Vote.
I mean, fair
or-
vote's part. I think all that stuff is. There's probably a party or certain people behind it. It's not really. Well, I don't know what fair vote is like, but
Okay.
is it? Do you think? Like,
I don't-
are they looking for?
I think they're
proportional
it is,
representation.
It's
Is that
lobbyists.
their thing?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of our platform too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a laundry list of things we got to fix. This is, but the why I'm running is really about this mechanics of government, and I think it's impacting a few things in terms of the the pace and the the effectiveness of what we can do. It just doesn't match. It's not designed or fit for purpose for the digital age.
Right, so it's about efficiency, being more effective, saving money, I guess, or being able to do more with the money we have.
Yeah, it's improving the outcomes at the end of the line.
Like, is it the kind of thing, like, you know, I follow a lot of U.S. politics, so like where they discovered that they could only retire 8,000 people or whatever the number is from this public sector because it's not digital. They have to go literally, they've got the files in a mine and they have to go down to the mine and they can only handle so many pieces of paper a month. Like, and it's like, why are we still, like, is it that kind of thing coming in and modernizing things?
Sort of. It has more to do with the mechanics are built essentially where there's a high degree of certainty at the beginning of a project or program plan, right? So like a building or like a, you know, where there's, I mean, we've been building things for hundreds of years. We know how to build things. We know the mechanics. But software development, which every program has a digital component to it now, right? You can't really separate the two, and that's why, you know, that's why I'm saying Doge is the right thing and doing it in the wrong way. So I don't want to associate with that at all.
Right.
But really, it's about the mechanics of how we approve these things and the speed and pace, which doesn't really match, you know, sort of the way digital good digital products get run.
Yeah.
That's part of it. There's a whole other structure behind of it in terms of the HR, like the training. I see a lack of accountability in leadership, especially the EX ranks. So I'd love to see 360 performance reviews, like they do in the UK. And then I'm just seeing overall that, you know what, there's certain things that we should be prioritizing that are not being funded or prioritized. So that's what we do. Like, that's how we say what we prioritize. What are we funding? And so we haven't been funding or prioritizing digital public infrastructure. And so we've fallen from 3rd to 47th in the digital UN's the rankings.
That sounds...
Since 2010, we went from
right.
3rd to today.
Since 2010.
Yeah, we went from 3rd down to 47.
And why do you think that is? Would people say it's the party in power that was responsible, or what's going on here?
It's one of those wicked problems, Josh.
I don't know why.
So it's a combination of all these things that I'm talking about. So number one, the processes, the mechanics, that essentially from idea to implementation, like policy idea to getting it implemented, they're not. They could be tweaked. Like, it's not that I'm not saying they're broken.
Yeah.
We just need to debug them. You know, like your computers. We got to fix a couple bugs.
Things are so advanced now. Like, even this morning, I asked ChatGPT, like, I want to film this. Should I do it in 4K or 1080p? I'm interviewing Andrea at the NAC, and just for that information, it was like, oh yeah, I suggest 1080p because it's going to be a long form, but if you're going to be moving a lot, you should use this frame rate and you should turn off the stabilization, all this stuff. And I'm like, are you going to use a tripod or handheld? And I'm like, I felt like I was talking to a person, and it still blows my mind that this thing exists. So I mean, I can't imagine what, you know, we're still in 2010, that was not there. We'd be dialing up with a modem.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
But you sound like maybe it's like that in Good Will Hunting, where like Matt Damon's this genius and his professor's like, listen, you're way smarter than me, but there's only like 5 people in the world that even know, that could tell the difference between us. So I feel like, who are the people that even know that you're that would know that you're a genius and can hear what you're saying and say, we got.
I'm optimistic that there's more people in Ottawa Centre than anywhere else in the country.
So, that would know what you're talking about and want to change or not.
That's right.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so you came to the right spot and literally in Ottawa Centre.
That's right.
So you're part of this tech thing, and then, but that's not the party you're running for. So like, how did you go from?
Sure. Yeah. So anyway, so I started to realize, okay, we got to make it an election issue, and you know, get
so you thought you had your year. You're working with the tech.
Thought I had my
tech
year.
bros for good.
Yeah, and then around the same time, I mean, it was serendipity. It happened. I don't know. It was just kind of magic.
Is that the movie with John Cusack? And Kate, I don't know.
I was using it as in terms of like the word, not a.
I know. It just makes me think. I'd like to throw in little jokes here so people aren't falling asleep with all the tech stuff. No, I'm just kidding. I think it was the one where she like gives him his number, and she's like, but no, she rips it up. What happens? She rips up, throws it to the wind. Yeah. he's like, yeah, something. And then she's like, well, if we're meant to be, we'll see each other. He's like, no. And he spent the whole movie trying to find her again.
Can you pause it?
And we're back. This is part 2. Just took a little break. Didn't expect it to be so long, I guess. But that's exciting. It's because it's going so well, right? Time just flies, right? We should do a weekly show called, I don't know, fixing UX on customer service call, whatever you do or something, or whatever. I'll bet you have ideas about just fixing things in the world. Are you always observing things where you're just like, oh, they should fix that system, or every time you come across something? Yeah.
I do. I love to solve problems, that's for sure.
Wow, very cool. So we were getting to the crux of, I guess, yeah, we were the tech bros. You were expecting, you had a year. I called them tech bros. I don't know who these people are. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
and they were expecting you had to like till next October for the election, but then, so so what happened? So you were just working. What are these people called again?
Civic Tech.
Civic Tech. So you're working with
They're
them.
not tech bros.
No. Yes. I'm sure they're all.
This is a volunteer. No one's making any profit off of this.
Yeah.
Using tech for good, like you would. I'm trying to think of a similar organization. I mean, every nonprofit has like a particular goal, right?
Yeah.
They want to accomplish something, and this is just marrying tech to do. So they have a lot of data projects, for example, open data projects. And they're in various cities across Canada and the U.S. actually.
Oh, so this is not just Ottawa.
Yeah.
So the people you're working with, they weren't just in Ottawa either? You're sort of all like doing Zoom calls together from different cities?
Like this, we're in the Ottawa chapter.
Right.
So it is a local.
Do you guys like meet for coffee and stuff?
Yeah, we meet once a month at different locations. There'll be like a presentation on.
Oh, this is so cute.
Something.
Does somebody bring like a laptop? Do they have a little PowerPoint thing, a little screen?
Depends on the presentation, but yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh, it's adorable.
Yeah.
All right, and are we losing Bruce?
Okay, see you, Bruce.
You want to pop your head in just so people can see you? No, he's going to stay anonymous. But Bruce he's going to go behind the thing. Oh, that's right. If you walk behind us now, people will know.
We'll make you famous, Bruce.
Yeah. We got to make you a TikTok. If you're doing street photography,
Too late.
Too late. No, it's never too late.
Never too late.
Gary Vaynerchuk would be like, you're 80 when you're just a kid. You're going to live another 100 years. Come on, let's do this.
That's not how I meant it. I'm already famous.
Oh, he meant he's already
famous. It's too late.
All right, well then I'm a jerk.
Well, there you go. We should. Yeah.
All right, well.
Thank you, Bruce.
No, well, then we got to work. Okay, well.
There you go. We'll tag.
But are you famous on Instagram though? That's what matters.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to run your social media. I got 2 jobs now. All right.
I'm sure everybody watching knows Bruce.
We're not editing it out. We're keeping this, Bruce. This is fun. This is what we do here. All the best, he said. Very sweet. All right. Maybe Bruce can be part of our team. I feel like, yeah, because I'm your assistant. I forget what my job is, but I'm doing something. We're traveling the world. We're going into corporations and fixing them. I'm very excited about our role now. Okay. All right. So that's what's happening. Oh, so you meet for your little coffees with your presentations. Is it what's the gender balance?
It's actually it's a good question. I'd say it's pretty diverse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cryptic.
Yeah.
You're the only woman. All
no,
right.
I'm not. There's
No, I'm
definitely
just kidding.
there's a woman who runs she's high up in Code for Canada. That's a female. A lot of there's a bunch of females, and like it's even a diverse group culturally. It's not just like a bunch of old white men getting together. I don't know.
On behalf of old white men,
Sorry.
I take offense.
You're invited.
I can come.
Included too,
I can be your token old white man.
There you go.
Excellent. Now we're diverse.
Okay.
All right, so you meet for little coffees and stuff. I love that. Maybe I could join, but I'm not a tech person. I guess I don't know what I could contribute. Well, maybe I could be like the social media person for the group and like film you and stuff. And
There you
put
go.
out little TikToks. Like, hey guys, because we want to recruit new tech people to do good, right? We want people to know about this.
Well, it's funny because I'm not super techie either. I'm sort of tech adjacent, and I like to lead technical teams.
But that's what we need. We need a leader, and then you get the little nerds, but you don't have to know all the little things.
Right.
Yeah.
I need to know something.
Yeah, you need to sort of know enough to be able to know
Yeah.
if they're doing it or sort of talk their language or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just crack the whip, and then you sit there with your Starbucks and you go, "Have you done what I just said?" Because mommy's scrolling TikTok. All right, so you're doing little coffees and stuff, and then, then did you hear the elections? Like, oh no, is that when things changed?
So I think it was last fall. I'm constantly reading the news, and I don't know how I stumbled across this Canadian Future Party.
Ah.
Yeah, online. I started looking into it, and yeah, there you go. I realized that they really I align very much. Like, I don't know, like maybe I've just been politically homeless my whole life and I didn't realize it, right? I was like, I actually, to run, you know, I had to look back at my posts, and this was even 20 years ago. I was saying, why can't I care about the environment and be socially progressive and be fiscally, you know, responsible? I was like, why can't I be all those things?
Why do you have to choose?
Why do I have to choose? Yeah. And so that's what this party brings.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were on the dark web doing weird trolly things, and you discovered this little party, and they're like, join us. And you're like, this, okay. All right. And then, so had you thought about running for a party before, or you just sort of discovered like, hey, I could run for these people?
Well, when I realized that the changes would require political will, right? At first I thought, okay, we can influence the election. We got to make this an election issue.
Right.
And then Trump trumped all the election issues, right? Sort of everything else that we need to fix kind of went to the back burner. But I thought,
but you discovered this party before the election had been called.
Yeah.
So okay.
I thought, you know what? I'll be a member.
Yeah. But you were already sort of planning ahead like a year. So you were like, oh, this is going to be an election. But then Trump was elected in November, I guess.
Yeah. And it kind of shifted because I felt like they were starting to get some momentum, right? Like there's a lot of people. There's still an appetite for change, right? At least from what I'm hearing at the door. There's just this appetite for change once we deal with Trump, right? And so we need a leader who will be able to do that. And so I feel like that's kind of taken over this election to a certain extent.
Right.
But there's still, this is the first time, I've asked. So I like to talk to people, and I don't know, maybe you could speak to this too. But I ask people like, what's important to you this election? And it's like, I get a lot of people that kind of blank for a second. It's like there's too many things, right? There's the issues are compounding, right?
Right.
So we had elected the Conservatives like under Harper, and then we got upset about how things ended up there, and so we elected the Liberals, and they had a bunch of promises, and we were ready to kick them out in the fall, like last fall, before this all happened.
Yeah, which is interesting. That was why Trudeau stepped down. It was all falling apart. And then it was looking, like the Conservatives were going to wipe the floor. They're like, oh, we got to get Trudeau out. Maybe we have whatever. But then I guess the tariffs made me go, oh, we like the Liberals again or something. I mean, I guess you got to trust the polls. Like it always astonishes me. Really? Did everybody suddenly like, do people change their minds so quickly about things? I don't know. It's all complicated because I think I was looking at the stats for the last election, and the Conservatives actually got more votes, but somehow the Liberals still got a majority government. Is that actually what happened? Something like that. Like, because the way the system works, it sort of depends
the
on.
first past the post.
Yeah, so like if you get the right ridings and stuff, so it's not, what can look like, oh, it's a whole Liberal. It's like, well, not exactly, right? So it's tough to assess things.
So that's what spoke to me about this party is we're centrists, right? We're like, you can be all those things all at the same time. You can care about the environment, care about being fiscally responsible, and be socially progressive and not want to leave anyone behind. To me, the world we live in now is more complex than ever before. We have way more programs, and so all those things about this party's platform said to me that above ideology, we're interested in evidence, like what makes sense, and that's the scientific method, right? So how could we bring some of that to our policy making approach? How can we kind of test? Right, because there's certain things that we can point to other countries maybe and say, oh, that's a cool idea that they're doing over there. or they've tried this over here, and so we could leverage that, right? There's a lot of great ideas out there, and then debate whether or not it will work for Canada, and then test the approach, and if it doesn't work, we change, right? We adapt, and so I call it more like adaptive policy making.
Yeah, I liked in Toronto where they would doing things like, they're arguing over whether they're going to put in a bike lane or something. It's going to cost all this money, whatever. It's like, well, why don't you put up a temporary one and see if people like it? Like, you don't need to move sidewalks and stuff. Just put a line and see if the traffic works. Or like they did in New York years ago, they would be like, all right, let's just try patios in the street. Like, take the parking spots and let's just try it once for a summer, and people like it. And it works. Let's keep are there things we can do to sort of just try it out, test it and stuff, rather than arguing and
before we scale it up. That's how we say.
And that's what companies do. Like McDonald's will test their new McRib in a little small town for a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
especially with social media now, you can sort of that's what the algorithm is. You just sort of throw out a video and, that works. Okay, now we know that people like that. So I think it's even different because I work in advertising and, the job has always been, okay, we got to make little animatics of the commercial and then we give it to focus groups because we're going to, shoot it and then it's going to be all this money in media. But now you can literally just post a video and just, if people like it, you see what works. So I feel like maybe there's even more opportunities for testing things now, and rather than do it the old way. So, it's either all or nothing.
That's right.
So I like this. And is this a new party, or how long's the party been around?
Brand new. So we had our founding convention last fall. I unfortunately didn't go. I wasn't. I don't know if it was just too late or I just signed up. And anyways, I'm a single mom still with 3 kids, so it could be complicated to try and schedule big chunks of time away.
That's true. Well, now you've got your babysitter. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Josh, I gotta go to convention. Like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I don't know. Yes, ma'am. I'm a farmer now. Right? Yes, ma'am. I'll just come over and rustle up the kids.
It's only slightly less triggering than politician.
Yeah. You're a ma'am and a politician. Oh my gosh. No. You're. I don't know what. What do you want to be called? I'll let you decide that. Okay, so you couldn't make it to the convention. Where was the convention?
It was here in Ottawa.
Yeah, but where specifically?
Oh, yeah.
Starbucks?
I'm not sure.
We don't know. You weren't there. Who cares?
I wasn't there.
So they had their little convention without you.
Yep.
And then, but have you've met the leader, or is he in Ottawa even?
Yeah. So for sure. So he's actually in New Brunswick. I've met the leader. So the first event I went to after I signed up as a member, there was an in-person event at downtown, 3 brewers, so.
Yeah, in Ottawa?
Yeah,
I guess it's over there, Queen Street maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, 30 of us in a room, and the leader spoke and started talking about, there's kind of rumblings that there could be an election, but they were starting to move into election readiness.
Yeah.
Still at the time, we thought we had a longer runway, but, there was I think I'm trying to remember if we knew the results in the U.S. yet. Anyways, the last little bit's been a blur, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Every day is like a whole year.
It's like, was it before Trump getting, it's like pre or post COVID. It's like,
that's right, my whole life is before Trump. Before March 2020, and now it's since November 4th. Yeah, because that could have gone either way, and that changes everything too.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so then they're having their little 3 brewers event.
Yeah, and then I don't know, a lot of people don't see what happens on the inside of the party, but it's very grassroots. So there was a few people that got together that live in Ottawa Centre, or pre-distribution of the boundaries. There's a boundary change, and so the first step is to set up an electoral district association. It's basically a super boring meeting.
Yeah.
Being like, okay, let's pass some bylaws and elect a board. And
so much work. I think it was a year or 2 ago, because I was, I've run before for a party, and I've been running independent. I looked up, okay, can I start my own party? I thought that would be cool. I could be, maybe because I'm called Spark the Genius and social, I could be the Spark Party, and we're about, I don't know, being creative or whatever. I was just looking at the ramp, but it's very hard. There was all this stuff. You got to have the financial person. Even running yourself for a party, you have to have your financial person, like your accountant or whatever. But to run it just seemed very overwhelming. There had to be 2,000 people signing that they would.
That's right.
And then a lot of rules. So it's not just as easy. I'll start my own party. party.
No.
That's why I'm surprised there's so many parties. Like, just to do it, like, my God, a lot of work. And now it makes sense to me, like, oh, that's why there's the main parties, because it's just so much work and people and time and money and expertise. But somehow these guys did it, so that's commendable.
Yeah.
Even just that.
For sure.
So you're having your EDA, you're like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
And then
So we got our board, and we were just about to file our paperwork with Elections Canada to formalize everything for the EDA when the election was called.
wow.
Yeah.
So that was just like a month ago or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's all fresh.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting juicy here. We went from like giving speeches about marijuana and starting to pop out babies, and now we're like in the thick of it, like just like a month ago.
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah. All right. So then, So at this point, you'd been thinking, I want to be one of the candidates?
Yeah, I thought it could be fun, for sure. Anyways, I told you before, like I knew I had political experience before. This was a fresh party, so I was sort of cautiously optimistic that they might do things a little differently, a little more open, a little bit more transparent, especially about the nomination process. And because it's new and it's grassroots, there's still, I think, a lot of opportunity to kind of shape the direction as a member, right? That is really a party becomes what is member like.
That's true.
Members.
Yeah. I remember I was running for the Green Party years ago, and I was getting nervous about the debate. I'm like, I don't know if I know all the specifics of each policy. And somebody said to you, but you're green, like at your heart. So anything you say, then that's the green policy. Like it comes from, and maybe that wouldn't actually apply to bigger parties or whatever. But at that time, I thought, okay, so if that's something coming from my heart and that's kind of my values, then. And so even more so for a new party, you're kind of shaping the thing now, because you can even see big parties like the Democrats, Republicans, like depending on who's in it, the whole thing can kind of change. Like a lot of people would argue that the Republicans now are like the Democrats were 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Like so it's not a fixed thing. It's very malleable. So you're in the infancy stage with the little embryo making things happen. So that's exciting. And was the nomination process transparent like you had hoped?
So, there wasn't one, right? There wasn't time for one.
Yeah, there wasn't going to be a big debate.
So,
you're here. You're that girl.
Right? Yeah. So it was, me as a public servant, right, I have to go on leave without pay.
Okay. So that's
run, and I need, before I can even kind of publicly express my desire to run, I have to get permission from the Public Service Commission. So,
so people are making a sacrifice here. She's not getting paid. She has to, this isn't just like, so when people are, I don't like, why are you running, or whatever, like, it's a lot of work and it's sacrifice and stuff. So you people should appreciate this, given because you care enough to want to, make a difference in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you have to get your money. Now your 3 kids are starving, okay. Oh, but now you're not the breadwinner because you're on leave without pay, so maybe, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, right. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, we've already done that part anyway.
Yeah.
But, all right, so then so you had to go to work and say, I'm going to run for my thing, and you're like, all right, bye.
Yeah. I got approval, and then like record time, which is great.
Oh, they have to approve you. They can say, no, you can't take off a month's work or whatever.
Yeah, or they have to approve you with conditions, so it depends on the role you have and right, whether or not there's a perceived sort of partisan interaction, even when you go back, sort of thing.
Right, they're like, now that we know you're partisan, like, can we trust you to dealing with CRA call
and
centers?
I'm still subject to conflict of interest, policies and all of that, even while I'm on leave. So yeah.
Cool. So then that's it. You were made the person, and
so they did still, have a vetting, what we call a vetting process.
Yeah. So you were saying like you had to go through all your own tweets to know if I said anything controversial.
Yeah.
And then you
had to look through my socials. And, yeah.
Was that fun? Well, I guess maybe, I don't know. Like for some people, you might be like, oh my God, what's out there?
I was actually embarrassed. I was like, and I told my my EDA board, which became my campaign team, like, I suck at social media, guys. Like, I'm not the one that's like, look at me, like,
you're not me.
I'm usually like hiding. I'm like watching you, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. It's really engaging, I'm like the nerd.
You're the lurker.
I'm like reading, I'm usually just reading case law or like the latest OECD article on digital public infrastructure or any number of the academic articles on public service reform that have come out lately. Like, I'm just mostly reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not dancing on TikTok.
No.
Right. Okay. So there wasn't much juicy stuff
No.
for them to go through. They're
That's
like,
right.
oh God, she retweeted a public policy article or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That could be maybe they were found a sleep aid themselves. Oh, we got to go through Andrea's tweets.
Yeah, they just fell asleep. Like I said in my default.
Wait, where were we? Oh,
yeah, she's fine.
We're in 1997 now. Okay. Oh, God, kill us.
Yeah.
But now they know your whole life. It's like, hey, everybody, I just married a cowboy. I'm gonna have babies, and whatever you tweet about. Cool. So you had to go through that, and were you worried? We're like, but you're like, nah, it's not probably fine.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the public opinion is harsh these days. You know, I was sort of, and I tend to be particularly hard on myself. Right. I try to hold myself to pretty high standards. So I was like, oh, you know, I don't know if, you know, like I disclosed this like being booed for defending marijuana legalization.
Oh, you had to tell them that story.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like,
you don't want that to come out. They'll dig it up.
You don't know.
She argued for drugs.
Like I wanted to be clear about my, I'm divorced, right? Like I'm a
you're shameful. You're a sinful woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like, so anyways, it was nice.
But anything,
Sure,
when you're running for
anything.
office, they got to know everything. Like, anything can be dug up and spun badly or whatever.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
claim you worked at McDonald's, but you didn't, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So you went through that horrifying process,
Yeah.
and your life exposed.
Yeah.
And then, and then they got to talk to every one of your ex-boyfriends. Like, we're gonna get something, dig something up.
No.
I guess that's what they do for if you're running for president or something, they gotta go talk. The vetting must be insane. Talk to every teacher you ever had. Did you ever get detention or something? Yeah. Anyways, so that's what's going on.
Yeah.
So you got approved. And then, we were talking yesterday on the phone, you had to go get the signatures. And that's what, I always find the hardest parts. If you're running provincially, you have to get 25 signatures, or you get 100 for federal, which is a lot. And they have to be people who live in the riding, who are willing to sign and say, yes, you can run on the ballot. Doesn't mean they can vote for you.
And they have to be eligible electors too.
Right,
That means
that's true.
18 and over and Canadian citizens.
Yeah, so there's the
permanent
whole
residents
thing.
can't
So
sign that.
that's when I realized a lot of my friends, they're permanent residents.
Yeah.
They can't vote, or
I realized
a lot of my friends don't live in the ridings. You start going, okay, there's maybe, you were saying, maybe 10 people that
Right.
actually qualify.
Yeah.
You got to find 90 strangers.
Yeah.
And we were saying, if you're running for the Liberals or Conservatives, you can probably get together 100 supporters and they come and sign it.
Right.
Although I found with the Green Party, there wasn't even, I still had to go door to door.
Right.
It wasn't that easy. You wait. Sign an apartment building, people come in, but then you got to get extra ones because some of those people might not actually live. And that's the thing. And if you go to a coffee shop, you don't know if they live in the riding, so it's better to go to the houses.
Yep.
And then I find that people are more likely to sign if you're at their house. You already know where they live. It's not like, oh, hey, stranger in the street, tell me where you live.
That's right.
So there's all these levels, and I sort of beat myself up, going, you know what, it's not worth trying to get 100. And I thought that was just me. I was finding it hard just because I'm me. But you were saying no, it's hard for anybody.
Yeah.
So now I know I'm going to push myself through it, and you just got to be like, you're going to get most people saying no.
Yeah.
Because, they don't want to give you their information, or they're saying, no, I'm already supporting another party, I don't want competition, or I don't know who you are, or what the hell is this, or
Well, even just like the idea of having, their name and their address.
Yeah, that's scary for
on
people.
the thing.
And who are you? I don't know. You're coming to my door with a clipboard saying, can you write your name, address, and sign your name?
That's right.
Can I get your credit card number? So a lot of people won't do that. And I find it depends what countries people for. That they're scared of the government knowing their names or whatever it is. So there's a whole level of things to it.
Yeah, or they're worried they'll be contacted too. Someone, someone's like, I put my name on a liberal list, and I still get emails 20 years later, or conservative list, or like any number of parties.
Oh yeah, no, I was doing,
I
was doing phone
we're
calls
not
for
collecting
people
their
that had to get my
phone,
number.
we're not collecting their email.
Yeah. It is. So it is. Yeah, it's not as easy as. Yeah, now I'm getting upset again. Oh,
Sorry.
It is hard.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's actually, I'm happy to know it's hard, and it's not supposed to be that easy. And I guess that's the point of it, to sort of put some brakes on it, so not everybody can just run.
Sure.
Although they sort of circumvented that, I guess, in Pierre Poilievre's riding, they have some organization that's trying to sort of gum up the system. So they ran like 90 people or something, but they all got together and signed.
Each other.
They got 100 people to do it. So maybe I should have done that, but I don't even know 100 people. That's the point. But I do run a Facebook group with 10,000 people and stuff. And you realize, no, most people don't live in the area.
Yeah.
And also, especially in Ottawa, people are they take politics seriously. It's
Yeah.
not like in some areas they go, sure, whatever, you want to run. But other people are like, wait a minute, what party
Yeah,
is this?
that's
I'm,
right.
I'm supporting, like,
Yeah. Well, even friends.
Yeah.
Right? Even people that
oh
know
no,
me.
I've had friends. They've said, oh, I don't support whatever your thing is, so
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm like, what?
that
Sign it, I
live
wanna
in
run.
the riding, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, there's nothing on this paper that says you support the party or
Yeah.
that you know, like even that you agree with anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the democratic. You're not a psycho test. This is like,
Yeah.
there's 100 people that consent, that give their consent, that just say, yeah, it's okay if you run.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's consent.
Which is still frustrating because it's sort of ridiculous. Like, I'm going to knock on a door for a stranger. Hey, talking for 30 seconds. Oh, sure, I'll sign. Like, they don't know me. I might be a psycho, right? Like,
True.
so it's
But
kind
that's the point.
It's just a
supposed
game.
to be, yeah. You know, in theory, you're supposed to know
yeah,
at least enough people. But so here's, you know, my big thing is like the geography was like, yeah, I know 100 people who know that I'm not a psycho, but they don't all live in this
That's the
geographical
thing.
area.
Yeah, I've got
right?
18,000 Facebook followers.
Sure.
But how many live in this area and can
Yes,
vote and are willing
exactly.
to? So that's when I realized, okay, yeah, I've got like 10 people,
Right.
and now I've got to find 90 strangers. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
That's right.
and
Yeah.
it's also it's a big riding. So okay, is it worth it to go across the city for one vote? Like, because a lot of people are like, oh, can I sign online? Or I'm like, no, it has to be the stupid paper, and you got to.
So there is one now for federal. Like they call it a single elector nomination, and so you could email it, but it still requires them to print it and a wet signature, so they have to like scan it, like print it and then sign it and then scan it.
Which is ridiculous. And then what? What do they do? Oh, so it's not. So they have to scan this piece of paper.
Yeah.
Can they fax it to
Or
you?
they could take a picture, right? But they still have to print it
right,
and
yeah.
then sign
And that's
it.
a lot. Who has a printer,
Right?
right?
I know.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
almost better. Listen, I'll just Uber to you.
Right,
All
exactly.
right. Well, that's good to know that that's possible.
Yeah.
Although,
But still, I'll get 100 of those.
yeah, and that might even apply better if it could be people from anywhere. But if it has people in the riding or the printer that are going to take a picture, like, it's and they're not going to do it, like,
Right.
because like what none of these people get anything out of it. So
Right.
it's like, oh,
Yeah.
now I got to go print. Like, now you're giving me work. Like, would I
Yeah.
even do that for someone?
Right.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe I would.
probably would.
I would, yeah.
Yeah,
but
you seem
I'm
like
not.
a good guy.
All right, but I'm not like everyone.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, even things. Yeah, I've realized with a lot of my friends now, it's like, I do things that other people aren't going to do. I'm like, oh, sure, I borrowed a car, I'll drive you around. But now I'm like, oh, you've got a car, and I know they won't drive me somewhere, or they're not going to do anything that's extra work for them. And I feel like I do a lot of extra work for people. Like,
Yeah.
a friend I keep meeting up with, oh yeah, we're going to brainstorm, and then I wind up helping her with her work and how to make money and all of this. And I'm like, oh, here's what. Oh yeah, anyway, she's not interested in like. I don't know. Now I'm venting.
Yeah.
But yes, so a very hard process. But you took a few days to get that done.
Yeah.
Door knocks, and then you had to.
But it's hard. It's
Yeah.
mentally hard, right? To face, 20 doors.
Rejection. Yeah,
will
and that's
say,
why I sort of gave up
"No,
this
no,
time.
no."
I'm like, I can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
because like some people, like, sure, I appreciate what you're doing. I get it. Like running
Yeah.
for democracy,
They're like, good for
participating,
you.
sign it, and I
Yeah.
love it. And that makes me feel good. And I go to
Yeah.
the next door. It's like, no, I'm not supporting you. I don't know who you are. Or it's like, no, I'm
Takes
supporting
another
someone
20
else.
doors before you find another
That's
one.
the
That's
thing.
Like, yeah.
I thought that was just me. I'm like,
No.
oh, I did this wrong. So
No.
now I know. But you managed to do it. That's great. And especially if a new parties, you got to explain. And they're like, well, what is
That's
this?
right. Yeah,
What am I
exactly.
endorsing here? Yeah.
That's right.
So that's but I'm a public, and you can talk to them. But I'm fixing you, and you put them to sleep, and then they're like,
Yeah, exactly.
and then you just take their hand and you go sign.
They're like,
it.
will you shut up if I
Yeah,
sign?
Please
you know, when
leave.
you go.
That's fine. I guess you've bored me to death.
Yeah.
That's good. So you got your thing, and you went to the elections office, and you're like, here it is. And then, did you get 100? Did you get bonus ones? Because they say get more in case somebody
Yeah,
didn't apply.
I got. Actually, I kept most of my single elector ones, the ones that were willing to print and sign or whatever.
Oh, right.
I kept those as bonus ones. So I got
Yeah.
100 physical ones, plus
Yeah.
a couple extra, and then I got I want to say 5 or 6 digital ones.
Yeah, just in case. They're
Not
like,
really
that's the one
digital.
that- Yeah,
like
whatever.
digital-ish.
Digitalish. Digitalish.
Yeah.
We're gonna, that'll be the word of the year.
There you go.
For
Digitalish,
Webster.
digitalish.
Digitalish. Maybe that should be the name of our show. Like, it'll be Digitalish with Andrea Chabot and Spark the Genius. Oh, I like that. Because we're like in the real world, you're fixing real, but it's kind of digital. Everything's kind of digitalish now.
For sure.
I love that. Okay, so you got the things, and then what happens? I guess, I don't know. Were you? So I didn't watch the Rogers debate. Were you in that?
I was.
Well, that's
Well, the
exciting.
first one. There's two Rogers.
Are there?
Debates. Well, there was one in studio, pre-recorded.
Oh, right.
And then there
yeah.
was a live one a couple nights ago, and I was so disappointed, Josh,
Hmm.
because I fought. Right, I knew about it from I don't know. It was a couple of days after the nomination. I
Yeah.
asked, hey, I'd love to be invited. We're like a brand new party. This is our first general election. It'd be really fun to have, be on the local and present some new ideas, right? It's the whole point of
Yeah.
why are we doing this other than to talk about good ideas that are great for Canadians.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So they said no. They
Yeah.
said we're following the leaders' debate,
yeah.
right? Which ironically, if the news about the Greens had broken, and
Right,
there
they
would have
shouldn't have had the
there would have
Greens
been
part
two
of it.
people at the debate.
That's true. It would
Two
have been the
people.
Liberal
Is that
MVP.
really a debate if it's
I don't-
like
that's-
one-on-one?
That's like a podcast, I guess.
Right? Yeah. I was gonna say.
This would be it. It would be
Yeah.
us, and they kind of agree with each other on most things anyway. So
There you go.
I don't know, but yeah, that's the policy for. I guess it's the Glebe Community Association or something. So I've run a few times, and I
Yeah.
know that that's what it is. I know I'm going to get in the Rogers debate because they'll take anyone.
Yeah,
so-
and even
so-
though they invited all the candidates, I mean, here was the other evidence
Yeah.
that because they were like,
They invite 9 people. I
Their
think it's 9
concern,
candidates.
their concern was like, well, if 9 people show up, then
Yeah.
this will be impossible, and nobody will. And I'm like, 9 people are not going to show up. You know that. Like
Yeah.
Rogers invites 9 people. How many
Yeah.
people show up? 5.
Yeah. It
Well,
was.
actually, was it 5? It wasn't even 5.
Well, there's the communist is always there.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then me.
And then it would have been
Yasser.
the Liberal
Oh, yeah.
and Joel, NDP.
Yeah, so 5.
Green,
I mean,
probably
5
Andrea.
is reasonable.
Yeah, 5's all right. And that's what I ran provincially last month, and it was, Liberal, NDP, Communist, me, and, and Green. So 5.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
5 is manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you want to weight it towards, we're going to ask a couple more to the bigger parties, we're going to go ahead, whatever. But I knew that was going to be the
Sure.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
so when I run, I get to be on Rogers, and then they have their Glebe thing, and it's always the main parties that they invite, and then we get a table. So I get a little table to hand out flyers, and there's the communists beside me. And
Yeah, we didn't get a table.
yeah, they didn't do tables this time. Because last time it's usually at the Glebe Community Center, and they did it at the church this time. So this time they made you stand there or whatever, which is fine. I mean, nobody ever comes and talks to the tables really either. Like it was what it was.
Well, and we were specifically informed that we had to stay outside. But when I got there, I noticed that all the major parties were handing their flyers out on the inside. I was a little offended, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like
I don't like that either.
Yeah,
Ugh.
it's kind of sketchy. Yeah.
And then it's also bad that the Conservatives didn't show up. I mean,
Sure,
it's the
yeah.
party policy, but I was surprised that he said he was going to come. I'm like, oh, great. Get to hear from another voice. So
Yeah.
it's not just, left-wing parties agreeing with each other, which is what these debates always are.
Yeah.
And then he's pulled out, ostensibly because the party policy or whatever, but I don't know, it's disappointing. So so then it was just the 3 of them.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
And again, because their policy was they're following the leaders debate. Like,
Yeah.
if the news had broken just a night
Yeah.
back,
Yeah, because so the Greens
Yeah.
can be in the
They're not-
the big TV debates
Yeah.
now because they chose to not run candidates in every riding, whatever. But there's 3 criteria. You have to have a seat in Parliament, have people in every riding, 2 of the 3, and then the third one is something else. And they didn't fit the 3 qualifications or whatever.
right.
So, all right. So yes. So it's a little. So now see.
Yeah.
Now you get to be frustrated,
That's
like
a little
all of us. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's why I was kind of like, okay, so when I'm about to run, I'm like, all right, what am I going to get? I'll get to be on Rogers. I'll get to maybe have a table or something at the live debate, and that's basically it. And if you're early enough, you get to write your little column for the Glebe Report or the Main Street or whatever. But sometimes if I'm running too late and the little local paper's already done, or this Ottawa Citizen's already written, I don't even get my write-up. So,
Right.
So then it becomes, is it worth getting 100 signatures and doing all of it? I do like being on the Rogers debate and being part of it. And even after the debate the other day, Joel Harden saw me outside. He's like, oh, you ran provincially, and I love all the funny songs you do and stuff. So he's known my videos, and he probably recognized me from the debate, because that's where he would have seen my face.
We should do a duet. That'd be fun.
Do you sing?
Yeah.
Oh, and do you like instruments or singing?
A little guitar, not great guitar.
I'm about the same. Like,
We'll say karaoke,
yeah. In university, like all the kids in my dorm, the boys played guitar, like, and I'm like, where did you learn? You're only 17, like, where have you learned this? But so somebody wrote down on a piece of paper, here, so you do a C and a D, and so I started writing my own little songs, and that's still all I've ever done. Like, why didn't I take classes? Maybe I'll start learning on YouTube. Even just, there was a woman at Live on Elgin I saw, actually, yeah, just before a big birthday recently, I was like, I saw a sign that said open mic. I went in, I was like, I'm gonna do an open mic again. So I went and got my guitar fixed, and I looked up my old lyrics on YouTube, like my old songs. I'm like, what are my songs? And I played them. I thought, look at me, I'm doing songs again, and I feel good. And there was a woman there who had said she was in her 50s and had just learned guitar over the pandemic, and now she had a feature. She was the feature act of the night and an album. I'm like, so it's never too late. Like I was saying to Bruce.
Never too late.
Yes, and so yeah, well, all right, we're a new song duo. Because I used to put ads in the Now magazine in Toronto or in the Ottawa magazine, like before the internet, and I'd be like, who wants to, do a song? And I met a girl, and we did a couple open mics just singing her songs, and it's like, and nobody, I have cassette tapes of that. What am I going to do with that? But now we could be on TikTok doing our song of the day. How exciting would that be? Maybe you could even help me. I was thinking of writing songs about the other politicians or whatever. So I did a love song about Elizabeth May years ago that went viral.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right. So now I'm going to be your assistant as you're going around the world fixing things, and then we're going to be like the, I don't know, Simon and Garfunkel or whatever. Sonny and Cher. Hall & Oates, whatever. Okay, so then, and that's it? Anything else to report? I mean, because you did your debate, and now what happens for I guess 10 days till the election or something?
Yeah, so I got really lucky because normally, you have to recruit and assemble a volunteer team. And so since we had already established the board, this phenomenal group of it's actually all guys. They're great guys, and they're action oriented. I said, all right, I told them I've ran some campaigns before. I used to help my dad out, like I said, when I was 14.
Right.
And
Is he
then
famous? Like a famous politician?
I mean, I don't know about famous.
I guess if I have to ask, no. But
probably famous like
in
you're
Alberta.
famous.
Yeah, exactly. So some random people.
Locally
Oh my
famous.
God. Yeah,
he's
locally famous.
There's the guy on the news sometimes.
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
But he's been a local, like a municipal councillor for like 12 years. Now he ran for mayor one time.
Oh, I've run for mayor of Toronto
twice.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
got one up on him. But so I assembled the team. I said, all right, listen, I've done this before. I kind of know a little bit about it. I've been on the election side of things, so I know all the rules. Right? I know about the paperwork and the signature and kind of the timeline of everything. So I said I know a few things about a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. And so they were on board, and they're a great team.
This is when you were deciding to run, or this is when you were sort of assembling your volunteers?
Well, we kind of, as a board, said we're going to support whoever puts their hand up, right? We were all in it together. We said whoever
wants to do this, you're all looking around, and you're like, I know some stuff.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
And I'm super passionate.
Yeah. I'm willing to, be on knocking the doors and be on camera or whatever I gotta do.
A sacrificial lamb.
They're all like, oh, do I have to go on TV and debate?
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because we had a lot of momentum, and actually, I thought there was a lot more folks that we wanted to put their hand up.
Mm-hmm.
At least
because a lot of it I find is like a vanity thing. Like, that's even why the smaller parties run when they have no chance or whatever. Like, it's. That was always my theory. Like, why? When I was with the Greens, I'm like, why don't we just join a party and sort of become. I guess in my head it was like the Tea Party or some kind of internal thing within a party trying to affect change. Wouldn't that be better? Like, why don't we become the Green people within the Liberals or whatever? But I feel like the little parties
There's
exist.
no room for factions like that, though, right? Like, once I don't know if you've ever, have you ever been inside a big party machine?
Not in the machine. I mean, I was at the Liberal convention a couple of weeks ago, so I was in the building, but I haven't seen all the machinations of all the things, I guess not.
It's tough. If you've got a great idea or something, or you've got expertise in a particular field, I feel like it's really difficult to, push your idea up, right? Through, maybe there's like a resolution process or, and so that's what I like about that's what I like about our party is we've got a process established. Really, we just want all the smart people to come join our party because we recognize, right, as an evidence-based sort of policy engine that one person making a decision is not going to be the best, or one person, right? You need a lot of different people. I think you need a lot of experts in different disciplines sort of coming together. Red teaming ideas.
Red teaming?
Red teaming. It's this idea of tearing an idea apart to see where it could go wrong. And I guess in arguments they call that steel manning it. Like, let's sort of attack.
Well, no, I mean, it's a separate
Yeah.
thing. I just know
Okay.
a podcast is always saying, I'm going to steel man this argument. So, okay, so let me try to attack it in every way to say that eventually, when you're in a debate, you know you've sort of attacked it from a way you
There you
can
go.
to sort of foolproof it or
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, that sounds smart. It feels like everybody should, like, you should make people join Mensa, like, to join the party. That should be the party of geniuses.
I don't know why, but it's almost like I find it's like a bad taste in folks' mouth. If they've ever been involved, like maybe their buddy who is, really only interested in running for a particular party because the wind had changed and they were like, all right, I'm going to get elected this time for sure, right? Like, I just don't see the values of, like, sacrifice and transparency and like in the people that are running today, like within these big party machines, it's...
So I was listening to a podcast this morning and they were talking about how it used to be that you'd bring up some kind of, or like to bring a political idea to the public or something, you'd come up with like a logical argument, this is why we need this, and you present that, and then you come up with the emotions, like, okay, and this is why, because of this, but things have changed lately, or it's different, or maybe it was saying the Republicans used to do that, but what the Democrats are good at is, no, they come up with the emotional argument, look at this woman who was killed by this person, whatever, and then you say, and then to solve this emotional problem, here's the actual thing, and they're saying Republicans are getting better now, sort of appealing to the emotions first, so politics seems to be a lot of emotions, so when you're talking about, efficiency and data, and like, maybe a lot of people are just like, they don't want to hear evidence. Like they come, even, I don't know, whether they know it or not, they sort of go with their emotions, and it's not about what's real. And then a lot of it is self-confirming things, like if something disagrees with what their preconceived emotions, they'll just ignore that evidence or whatever. So yeah, I'm all about, I took psychology in school and studied the psychology of anomalous experience, like why do we believe in ghosts and horoscopes, all this, and I would read Skeptic magazine and stuff. So I would love to get into arguments with people, even maybe I don't even agree emotionally or value-wise, but okay, but let's discuss the facts, like, which is hard these days because people are going to spread lies it's just So I like your little smart team of people. It sounds good to me. You guys should have your own podcast, the Future Party podcast, where we actually talk. This is my idea for the party. Like, just make it a thing, because even,
people could just debate in the comments, like
maybe. I think a lot of parties, especially smaller parties that aren't in power or whatever, they sort of just wait until the election and then they spend a month like, oh no. But it's like, I feel like if you were working all the time on that project, then it wouldn't be as a rush. There would be 100 podcast listeners. I'm ready to sign. Let's do this. And you'd have sort of built your thing for 4 years.
Yeah. That's usually
And I was always saying that to the Green Party too. Rather than just, okay, we're going to run and spend money on flyers and waste trees during the election. Why aren't for 4 years we an organization that is picking up litter and going around building school or whatever it is that we could do,
showing our values.
And then, hey, I'm going to vote for those people that have just changed my life for 4 years. That I've seen them cleaning the canal rather than just handing out flyers and. So you guys could do it too.
And I find, like I was just sort of saying, is there's like maybe this distrust or distaste maybe for the label like party, and being a member. Also because as soon as you're a member, all you get is like a barrage of emails asking for money, right? Depending. And so I was like, I had a really great conversation with a fellow who's like 3 PhDs or something crazy, super smart. And
I want to have his babies. I'm gonna smart
right?
babies.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. I was Western, like talking about babies again. All right. So here's what because I said, that's what we need. That's the type of people we need to join the party. It's people from all walks of life, all these different expertise, to come together and talk about these ideas, right? Like, I'm an expert in public service delivery and digital teams, right? And income tax. I can bring an income tax lens,
It's like the people in the show Lost. Like, okay, we're on an island. Okay, you're a doctor, so you're going to be the head of medicine for our team or whatever.
Right.
And you're the whatever. You're the
yeah, and you
hunter,
kind of develop these policy teams. But at the end of the day, there's also some magic happens when you cross discipline.
Yeah, yeah, that's why they...
on certain ideas.
I was helping write the website for, I forget what it's called in Waterloo. They built some big like science building or whatever, but they said it was specifically designed so that the different, the physics and the chemistry, they could sort of walk past each other.
Cross-pollination.
And that's, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, hey, you're sitting on a chair like this, like, oh, I'm working on this. Oh, really? I wonder if that would, it's getting people together. That's where the magic happens, for sure.
That's right. So, but he, when I asked him, I said, you should join and be a member. He said, I love the party. I'm gonna vote for you, or like if I could, I would, because he lived outside.
See, that's
Right?
another one of them.
Another one of them. Yeah.
That's why I always tell people, well, all right, I'll run for mayor, and then everybody can vote for me.
Right. Yeah. But he said, if there's ever any way for me to interact as a non-member, right? Like I said, it's this like.
People are afraid to join a party.
Yeah.
And now you're always, but yeah, I mean that is the taint, because like once you run or you become part of a party, now half the people hate you, and it makes makes it harder to do anything.
Yeah, it's like people are afraid to sort of associate with one ideology or another, like because we watched our parents being like, I'm a liberal for life, I'm a conservative for life, and we see this generation coming up that's. Maybe they identify with some of the ideas on the Green Party, and you know what? They're like, maybe they identify with the fiscal, responsibility aspect of conservatism, right?
I think it takes, and I don't want to sound elitist, but I think it takes a bit of intelligence to be able to see, to hold different ideas in your head, and to be able to see, I don't mind how the Greens are doing this, but I like that, but I also, I like that conservative thing. Like, it's hard on the brain, and a lot of people just like, no, I'm a party person, so whatever they say or whatever they're telling me, I should think.
Right. Yeah, and that's the other. That's the part I like the most about this party, and that's why I eventually decided that I would run. Is because there's room for that. There's room for discourse. I feel like it's just looping it back to the beginning of the debate where I felt like there wasn't room for debate. This is a safe place where even in the House, if I get elected, I can speak on behalf of my constituents or my experience, even if it's not whatever in the party lines. Like my vote's not going to be whipped. And just like they do in the UK, they've got a free voice. I think what we need is that level of freedom for that rigorous debate to happen, and debate ideas on the basis of the merit of the idea, not based on which party it came from.
Yeah, or the person.
Or the person.
Because a lot of politics now is sort of impugning motives to people. Oh, he's just doing that because of this. It's like, first of all, you're not psychic. You don't know what he's feeling or why he's doing it. So, and it doesn't matter either way. Like,
or political posturing, right? Like the role of the opposition is to hold the government to account, and so therefore, if we seem like we're in agreement with them, then we're not doing our job effectively, which is totally ridiculous.
Why? And stay in power.
Yeah, that's right.
Like they
all for that.
Yeah,
right?
they'll just attack the no matter what. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, maybe some things are a good idea. We should all agree, but I feel like a lot of parties won't do that just because, for example,
and we might appear,
people might be trying to, they want Trump to fail just so that they can that they can be in power. I'm like, but what if it's good for the country, like whatever's being proposed? And it doesn't seem a lot of, it's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're all about evidence over ideals.
I like that. And it's not that popular, and a lot of people use evidence, but I like facts.
Data.
Yeah, data. Number one. You ever watch Star Trek?
Yeah.
The data robot?
Oh, yeah.
I look like Jean-Luc Picard, and you can be my data. No, you would be the empath woman, whatever her name is. Well, Miranda Circus, or that? Her name is something like that.
Yeah.
Troy.
Diana
Troy.
Troy.
Yes,
Yeah,
Diana Troy was dating the guy with the beard, wasn't she? Riker.
I
don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, still have to grow some hair.
I gotta. All right. I'm not gonna be Riker for Christmas. I'll be Mr. Clean and be fine. Stick to my thing. Stay in my lane. Cool. All right. Well, I guess to wrap it up, which I guess people can go to. What's your website? Oh, well, there's the CanadianFutureParty.ca.
It's Andrea, the website, Andrea Chabot. Oh gosh.
It's not even on here. But do you have an AndreaChabot.ca or something?
It is. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, I think I visited it.
Well, Andrea Chabot CFP.
.ca. And certified finance. What is that?
Actually, it could be. It's actually a bunch of things.
Oh, that's the party, right?
Canadian Future Party.
Right.
But yeah, certified financial planner.
Oh, man.
There's actually a municipality. So my dad's, because they started introducing party politics in the city of Calgary, and so his is community's first party.
Oh,
so
no.
we realized at the same time that our party acronym is
Wow,
CFP.
you guys are merging.
I know.
It's like
across the.
there's a glitch in the matrix or something. The universe wants this to happen.
There you go.
Okay, so you're part of an, you're a dynasty. You're like the Kennedys, the Chabots.
Well, not yet. I wouldn't call us a dynasty.
I don't know. I would call you a
There
dynasty.
have to be.
I don't think
If
so.
I get elected, maybe we'll talk dynasty.
We'll
stuff
see.
like
But I think these days I'm just like, you know what? Say you are something. Like people are like, well, I don't know. Like when I was in advertising, my copier, it's like, yeah, you write copy. Your copy doesn't have. You don't have to be hired for the job. So yes, you're a politician because you're running.
Yeah.
If you're an artist, you're an artist.
Okay.
Like I guess there's certain things like, okay, if you're a neurosurgeon, you should have a degree in it. But a lot of
Right.
things you say, it's my political dynasty. That's why I do my show Spark the Juice. I
Can
want to
I
inspire
at least
people.
be a practical politician then? If we're gonna stick with the I'll be a
does that
practical politician.
What's a practical?
Pragmatic.
Oh, like that's your title? You want to be a pragmatic politician? You're
Yeah.
making it a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, because
I mean,
politician has that sort of taint of, oh, you're a wheeler and
It's
dealer.
like
No, I'm a
liars.
pragmatic
it's,
politician.
It's this idea that
Yeah.
you're gonna promise all these things.
Politicians are all
flashy
liars. You're all like used car
promises, and
salesmen. Yeah.
then, and then once we get in, we'll forget all that, right? Which is what it feels like.
All right, maybe we can come up with a new name for you, like
Pragmatician.
pragmatician. Ooh, I like that. All right, so this is Andrea Chabot, your local pragmatician, and vote for her. And that's exciting. And all right, well, you by the way, people, you didn't get in a fight. You were giving blood today. Is that why you have that red thing?
Oh
on?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, you said you were going to give blood this morning, and then you had all the cookies. You ate all the cookies?
All the cookies.
Excellent. And then you said you were going to do some errands, like get signs, and you're making signs? Are there signs with your
Yeah,
name
so
on it?
I actually, there's signs we gotta get, but I actually have a Reddit Ask Me Anything starting
Oh,
at 4.
right, that's what you had to do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
I gotta
it.
get
I
prepped.
don't know if this is going to be up in that time, so we'll see how they're... And then nothing could go wrong in the world of Reddit, I'm
Nothing
sure.
could go wrong.
Oh, my God.
No trolls.
Oh my God!
No haters.
No, nothing. Oh my God! Well,
Yeah.
God
Wish me
bless
luck.
you. All right,
Yeah.
and well, this is great, and hopefully you'll be on the show again, and we'll see what happens. Okay,
Thanks
bye.
for having me.